Hello, in this video I'm going to use some statistics and statistical methods to measure the location of the data. Where is my data point? Which category my data point falls in? Let's look at the percentile. First, 20th percentile. This is a cut point or a boundary in a data set. That means 20% of the data points falls below or at this value. Let's figure out this value. Equal percentile. Choose the column of data. 20%. Type in 20%, not just type 20. Return. We got the value is negative 7.03%. Then it means the Apple Stars monthly returns, 20% of that falls below or at this value. Let's calculate 16th percentile. Type equal. Choose the data set. Type 16%. We got the value. So the formula to calculate 19th percentile, the only change is this argument. Let's look at 5-number summary. Minimum, maximum, Q1, Q2, Q3. We already knew how to use Excel formula to calculate the minimum and maximum value. Let's just go through the Q1 and Q3. I want to remind you that Q2 is the same as the median value in the data set. Q1 quartile, Q-U-A-R-T-I-L-E. Choose the data set. Type 1. We got this value. That means 25% of the data points fall below or at this value. Q3. Choose the data set. Type 3. We got this value. That means 75% of the data points falls at or below this value. The interquartile range, Q3 minus Q1. We got 50.37%. And the outliers, this is the outliers formula. Let's calculate this one. The lower bound outlier is Q1 minus 1.5 times the interquartile range. Q1 is this value, click it, minus 1.5 times the interquartile range. And we got the boundary, two boundary of the outliers. That means the data points fall below this value are outliers. The data points fall above this value are outliers. Let's go to the frequency distribution table. Before constructing a frequency distribution table, we need to calculate the maximum, minimum values of the data set, and also we need to count how many data points in this data set, because this information can help us to group the data. So we grouped the data into these categories. It is referred as class interval. In order to use the formulas in Excel to calculate frequency and relative frequency, we need to translate these categories into Excel's category, because Excel only knows this, the bin. Excel doesn't recognize this kind of category. So the bin is the upper bound of every category. And how to calculate every category's frequency? It is a little bit tricky. First, we choose this column. We want to fill in the values. And then go to the formula bar and type equal frequency. Formula left parenthesis, data array. This is the data set. And then the bins is this data set. And then close the parenthesis. Pay attention. Press Shift Ctrl Enter at the same time. Now we got the frequency for every category. Let's calculate the relative frequency. Relative frequency is the first category is this value divided by the total amount of this data. This is 463, and then return. Or we better, after calculating the frequency, we better check if all the data points are distributed into different categories. So we need to sum up all the frequency to see if we got all the data points. Yes, we got it. And then for the second category, just this 0 anyway. And actually, we only need to calculate one category and put the total amount of data point as the absolute reference. Just put the $sign in. Type F4. Put the $sign in. And then just drag down. We got the relative frequency. And then cumulative frequency. For the fourth category, is the same as this one. The second, sum up. Is cumulative. Cumulative frequency is use frequency here. Okay, for the first row here, just equals the value over there. It is not percentage, it's general or number. And for the second row, sum up these two categories. Sum these two, and then put the first row as absolute reference. Type F4, because we always begins with the first row, so we need to make it to be constant. Okay, after we have this one, we just drag down. Okay, we got the cumulative frequency. I want to remind you that the last number in the table of cumulative frequency must equal to the total number. And cumulative relative frequency, the first row, the first cell is equal to the value here. And the second cell is sum up these two cells, and then make the first cell as absolute reference. And then we just drag down. Okay, we got the cumulative relative frequency. Check the last cell